Yo, what up, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of MLT Podcast. I am your host, Irvine.
I am Ashton.
And today we have a very special guest in the building, PJ. It's a friend of Ashton's. How about you introduce yourself?
I want to say what up.
What up, what up?
Ashton, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
What's up, y'all? My name is PJ, Peter John. Happy to be here. We're going to talk about a few different things. I'm going to let you guys guide me where you want to go.
Okay, so we work together. So what's your role in 3C?
So Ashton and I work at 3C together. It's a creative marketing agency. I'm a partner and creative director. And I've had the pleasure of working with Ashton for 3 months now.
Yeah, about 3 months. Yeah.
Started off as an intern.
Worked my way up the ladder.
Worked his way up the ladder. And yeah, man, happy to see him doing his thing.
Thank you. So at 3C, we all have Cohens. Do you want to explain what a Cohen is and what your Cohen is?
So Cohen is kind of, the definition is like a paradoxical way of thinking. It's the idea is a statement saying something that logically doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. It's to get you to think outside the box, and the concept of the question of what's the sound of one hand clapping? That's a Cohen.
Right.
What's the sound of one hand clapping?
The sound of one hand clapping.
You got that?
So you're going to say something that doesn't make sense purposely.
Okay, let's say, what's the sound of one hand clapping?
There is no sound of one hand clapping.
The sound of clapping, the sound of one hand clapping is the sound of one hand clapping. Is the sound of one hand clapping.
Oh, okay, I got
that?
you.
You
Yeah,
see that?
the sound of, yeah.
So that's what a Cohen does.
Okay.
Sparks those moments.
Okay.
So mine, for example, is the best way to predict the future is to create it. And the reality of that is you can't predict the future, but you actually can because you're creating it. So if you take, the steps toward creating the path that you want, hypothetically you're predicting your future because you're thinking about tomorrow and today and mapping it out. So when it happens, it was planned.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Taking the future in your own hands.
It's so easy to allow. So it's funny, I was telling Ashton this the other day, but it was a song that I wrote a long time ago. And if you look at the word react and you look at the word create, they're the exact same letters depending on where you move the C. So how you want to see things, right? Some people react, shit happens, and they react to it, and that's their life.
Yeah.
Other people create versus reacting, and that's the life that they created for you. So that's kind of my approach to get things done is, reacting didn't put me in a good place, so
Yeah.
so the hell with that shit.
Right. So now you've done a lot of very noteworthy things since you were young. Do you want to talk about what got you into that, what you started off doing, and then switched to becoming a creative? I know you were big into basketball at one point.
Right. I mean, for me, growing up in Montreal, I wasn't really in the best of neighborhoods, and you had to be creative to find things to do. The playgrounds didn't really have grass. We played British Bulldog and stuff. You fall, bust up your face on the concrete, and so we had to be creative in stuff that we do. I used to tape The Simpsons on VHS, and I'd pause a frame and try and draw it before it started to play.
Wow.
Right? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was being creative at the time without even knowing I was being creative. I would take apart my grandmother's radio and then put it back together and see if I can do it with it still working.
Right.
Or recording songs on the radio and making mixtapes. So you guys don't have to do that.
Not anymore.
I just aged myself. But that's what we had to do, Montreal, you had to sit there and wait. And then the second you start to hear that song come on, you're like, oh shit!
Yeah.
Get it,
Yeah.
Jokes,
it was
jokes.
To get it was amazing. So me starting off, we played basketball in my neighborhood. I love basketball, I loved hockey. And I took basketball really serious when I moved to Toronto. I was recruited by universities in the States and Canada, but back then it wasn't as big as it is now. So it was, it was a big deal for it to be recruited even by JUCOs. Right? Getting a letter in the mail was oh shit, But then what happened was my last year of school, the teachers went on strike. So I lost my season, and some of the schools pulled out, and it was just this big thing that I had to deal with. My first disappointment, Yeah. So I ended up going to Ryerson, and I studied. I wanted to play ball. I had an arrangement. I played ball. I signed up to study information technology, ITM management.
Yeah.
And no offense to anybody that's in that field.
It's boring, eh?
I just remember sitting in class being like, yo, what the hell am I doing, man?
Yeah.
And it's like, it was a powerful moment because it was one of the first times that as a man I made a decision like, no, I'm not doing this.
Right.
So I literally got up out of class and went downstairs to tuition. And I said, you know, if I quit right now, how much tuition do I get back? And she told me, and I was like, cool, I'm out.
In that instant, you just
that
decided
instant.
to drop out of school.
Done. Dropped out.
Yeah.
And so basically, I wanted to go into radio and television arts, and it's just an interesting switch for me going from ITM, information technology, playing on the basketball team, to wanting to get into one of the hardest creative programs in Canada.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a dope story, but on the train going home, I was sitting there looking at this woman on the train, and you could tell when she was younger, she's probably really beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
She looked so tired, man, and she looked like she didn't do what she wanted to do in life.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at her because I was drawing her, and I wrote down, better start living before you die, in a circle around her. And then I got home, I went on to the radio and television website, and I was like, yo, all right, I'm applying.
Yeah.
So you had to write an essay to get in. And I started my essay with, today I just dropped out of Ryerson University.
Wow.
And riding home on the train, I saw this woman who scared the shit out of me because I didn't want to have my life get to a point where all I have is regret.
Yeah.
And so I wrote that essay, ended up being like the third person to be accepted, went in, and just my life changed. I started creating. I went to school every day and created documentaries, films, video.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where things went.
That's how you got into that field.
That's how I got into this field.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always written songs. My cousins and I, we used to have a little rap group back in Montreal, like breakdance group, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I've always written songs. But what happened was when I started making documentaries, short documentaries, I would make the music for my films.
You would produce everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people would ask me, yo, who is that on the documentary? And I'd be like, oh, it's me. And then slowly, that's how I started like connecting with producers because word got out.
Yeah.
And playing instruments, singing, rapping, all of that stuff. And I just love creating. That's what it came down to.
Yeah. So now, speaking about creating films and stuff, I know you were talking to me about how you had to create a film for school and you went like above and beyond what was expected of like any student. You want to speak on that for a bit?
Sure. It was my fourth year thesis, and basically my team and I put together a little team stand-up films. It's awesome. But
Is that what your company was called?
Yeah, production company was
Yeah.
called Stand-up Films.
Yeah.
So basically there was an organization in Toronto called Bicicletas Cruzando Fronteras.
Okay,
And-
slow down. You're speaking in another language. What was that?
Sorry, Bicycles Crossing Borders.
Okay.
That's what it's
Okay.
And basically it was an organization where they'd go around the city and collect like junk bike parts, pedals, seats, handlebars, and all of that type of shit. And they put together about 1,000 bikes every year and send them to families in Cuba. At this time, in Cuba, getting a bike was like getting a car.
Yeah.
It was a big deal, man. You know what I mean? And so while we were shooting this documentary about them putting together their bikes, we put together our own bike.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up following it to Cuba, spending a couple of days with the family without the bike, and then spending a couple of days with the bike. And I mean, at the time it was crazy because there was no digital. So I was able to get like Panasonic on board to donate tapes. Air Canada donated a flight. We didn't have Google Maps back then. So I got on my hustle and I contacted NASA.
Damn.
Oh,
And,
you
yeah.
contacted me.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me this last time.
It's crazy. So basically, I didn't have enough money or a way to figure out how to do the transition of flying from Toronto to Havana.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I took a picture of the location in Toronto, Kensington Market, and I called NASA and I talked to a bunch of people and I explained to their PR department, I guess at the time, what I wanted to do in the film. And so what they did, which I give them like the utmost kudos, is they took a shot from Toronto-ish area.
Yeah.
They zoomed out, turned the satellite, and zoomed down into Havana, Cuba. And
Wow.
they sent me that clip.
That is incredible.
Right? So then when I put that clip in my film, everybody was like, "Oh!"
Yo, how do you do that?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because like right now, people are using like drones and stuff to get those shots, but you got
We couldn't do that.
you got a satellite.
It's like 2004, bro.
Yeah.
Nah. So anyway, so basically we followed them. We went down to Cuba, and captured, for example, like a kid trying to get to school.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Toronto, man. If you're late for school, in Cuba, like it's a serious thing, man.
Yeah.
You're in a lot of shit.
Yeah.
If you're late for work like 3 times, you're done. You're fired.
Yeah.
So for these people at the time, there was a gas crisis. The cars that they had were breaking down. China wasn't really supporting them the way that they used to. So there was a huge transportation crisis. So to be able to get a bike, man, like you'd see families of 4 on a bike.
Wow.
That comes from junk bike parts people throw away in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that film. It was a 48-minute documentary called La Bicicleta.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is.
it was dope, man.
That's cool. That's cool. So other things that you made, you had a TV show. So you started off doing film, and then did you go to the TV show, or is that when your musical career came in? Like, what came first?
No, what happened, well, basically I graduated, and the next day after graduation, I started working at Global Television as a PA, production assistant. And man, that was a hard job. I would basically wake up on a show called Whose Design Is It Anyway? Wake up, go pick up a cube van, drive across the city picking up furniture, bring it to set, decorate somebody's room. At the end of the day, tear it down, deliver all the furniture back to the stores.
Right.
And so I was doing that all the time for 2 years. I worked my way up from production assistant to camera assistant to director's assistant.
Wow.
Yeah, so I learned like so much, man. It's one advice that I'd have for anybody is if that's the industry you want to get in and learn from the ground up and figure out everything, the ins and outs, gripping, sound, lighting, craft, all of that stuff. So I did that for 2 years, and then it's funny, but we had an episode at somebody's house, a producer, Jeanette Deal, and basically we had to paint her sunroom. It was Saturday, it was my day off. It was like 8:30 in the morning. I'm like, man, I don't want to go do this today, man. But I was like, you know what? I sucked it up. Whatever, let's go.
Yeah.
So I went. It was me and Jeanette and I was painting her sunroom, and we started talking about traveling. And I recently went to Italy, and I was telling her about like I love Italy and I love the food over there and travel and the culture. And the one thing I love about Italy is finding these small hole-in-the-wall restaurants in Florence where like the pasta is just out of control. And we started talking more and more, and then she explained to me, she was like, I think you'd be really good for this show that I'm producing and directing called Street Eats. And I was like, Jenna, I don't really want to be on the camera. I'd rather be behind the scenes. But thank you. She's like, PJ, I'm telling you, I think you should put together an audition tape for this thing.
Yeah.
So anyways, after a while of talking, I'm like, all right, let me check it out. I went home, called my boy pissed off, and I'm like, I got this thing that I want to do. It's like, I want to shoot a 5-minute version of this show. So like I was living on College Street. I come out in the morning, I'm on my skateboard, I skateboard to this Jamaican restaurant. I go in, order some food, and I'm talking with the owner of the restaurant. Some kids come in, I order like saltfish and banana and all of this stuff. Anyways, deliver the 5-minute audition tape I send in to them. Next thing I know, not only did I get it, but they ended up changing the format of the show to now be a little bit more like mine.
Wow.
So it was super interesting, right? That I was able to like input onto the show, and next thing I know, man, 3 weeks later, I'm on camera, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. Going around the city, eating food, and talking about Toronto's culture, man.
Wow.
Paid for it.
And paid for it.
Yeah.
That's super dope.
Yeah. So I did that for 2 seasons, and it was dope, man. It was good. It was great.
That's crazy.
A show like that now would do really well.
Yeah.
Back then, like, no Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
That's crazy how, like, if you just didn't get up that day and was like, I'm not going into paint, change the whole direction of your life.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, you take every opportunity you can get.
Right. That's right. Especially, like, when you're young and you're hungry and you just never know. Every day's like a canvas, man. You just never know the possibilities of what can happen.
Right.
If you create versus react.
Yes. Yeah. So you have your show, 2 seasons go by. What comes next?
What comes next is I have my band and stuff that I was playing and I was doing.
What's your band called?
At the time it was called Therefore Peter John. And it was kind of like a folk, hip hop, rock and roll type of ska mixture of all the shit that I listened to growing up.
Right.
And we would play at bars and, we wild out, party, have fun and all that stuff. And I ended up meeting 2 producers, Adrian and Circuit. And I was just finishing up the show, and so we got together and we kind of came up with this idea of taking like electro beats and putting like dirty hip hop, even some pop, onto these beats, and we formed this group called Let's Go to War, and we just like our goal was let's go to war with everybody.
Yeah.
Like let's just do this.
Yeah.
And like within weeks we were signed to Last Gang Universal.
Really?
Yeah. It was
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And then that's when I left the show.
Okay. Oh, so you were doing this while you were filming the show.
Right.
And then you would rather be doing music than being on TV.
I mean, there's other things that happened along the way, like
Yeah.
you know, Sun TV closed down, right? And there's other things, budget cuts, and then you know when you're unionized, after 3 seasons, there's certain rates and all that. It was just like a whole bunch of complications, and then this blessing come out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, now I get
Yeah.
to go make music every day, and
Right.
get paid for it,
Right.
And I was like, great,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah.
So that's what I did for a couple of years. And, it was really dope.
Yeah. So now in music, you met like a lot of like influential people now. Can you talk about like your impact on their careers and your impact on music?
Yeah, I mean, it would be really asshole-ish of me to say that I impacted people's careers. You know, I'd much prefer they said it.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Okay.
But I know that, like, you know, as far as having an influence, like, at the time, we were doing stuff that nobody else really did.
Right.
You know, there's this cool article in what the hell was the name of that magazine? I can't remember. It was an online blog.
Mhm.
But Whole City Got a Cold came out, and it's a pretty dope track. And I remember the magazine gave it like they didn't even pay it any mind.
Yeah.
And then maybe 7 or 8 months later, Nerds, all the girls standing
In the line for the bathroom. Yeah.
That came out.
Yeah.
And this guy who wrote the article rewrote his article saying, yo, I have to give props to Let's Go to War because I know they were the source of that song.
So hold on. You're saying
I'm not saying nothing.
okay, let me
Disco Dust. That was the name of the blog. Disco
let
Dust.
me look into it.
You do your research and see what's up.
Okay, but for like right now, you were doing what NERD was doing before NERD did it.
Well, I mean, I didn't know NERD, so maybe they were cooking some shit up in their garage while
Okay.
we were doing the same thing. So I'm not
Okay.
gonna say that.
I'm not saying that like they looked at your stuff. and
Yeah,
was like,
no,
oh,
I'm never gonna say that. I love
Right.
Pharrell and what they do. Those guys are geniuses, man.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that we didn't really look to anybody to be like, yo, we should do this.
Right.
We were taking 3 guys who, you know, Adrian is a super great producer. Circuit is one of the biggest producers in the world right now.
Mhm.
And then myself, coming from like, I listen to like folk music
Yeah.
and like, you know, old school ska
Yeah.
with Illmatic. So you're taking these types of musics, putting them together with these talented producers, and we just came up with shit. Cool concept songs like Internet Porn Star was a song we wrote, where it was a girl that we never even met.
Yeah.
It was only over the internet that you talked to her.
Okay.
But you guys build a relationship with her like she's your girl, even though you've never physically touched her.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
concepts like that.
Yeah.
And then the crazy thing is for the chorus, I ended up calling my friend in Switzerland, and she sang the chorus on speakerphone up to the microphone.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so it had like this
Yeah.
really like feedback type of sound.
Yeah.
And that was the chorus, singing Internet Porn Star.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
that type of thinking. So as far as my influence, like we just created dope shit. And you know, there was times where when Drake was still coming up, like I was not working with him, but you know, we were in the same group of people doing our thing.
Right.
You know, Trouble Andrew, some names that have flying through my head, like even Doc Leak, guys you probably don't know.
No. Are these like old school
No,
Toronto
like-
artists?
Not like Doc's one of the producers for The Weeknd.
Okay.
Right? Who else am I trying to think of? I'm having name farts.
Yeah.
I'm not good at the naming names, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like at the time when we were coming up, there was a lot of people doing their thing, and I think we all influenced each other.
Right. That's dope. So you've also gone on tour with
Yeah.
like some pretty big names. Like you mentioned NERD before.
Yeah.
You went on tour with them, and you went on tour with MIA.
Yeah, that was a great tour. Went on tour with MIA, Clips,
Wow.
Chromeo, Chaos, Santi Gold.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember that year.
Yeah, that was the year, right?
That was
the
the
year.
year. Yeah, I
That was
remember
the
that
year.
year.
But yeah, the tour with MIA was probably one of the best tours.
Is that with Paper Planes came out, or is this before then?
Yeah.
This
That
is
was
Really?
Paper Planes,
yeah.
That was when
crazy.
she was like at her peak.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was crazy, man. Like, we toured Canada with her.
Yeah.
And then we played a couple of shows in the States. But the crazy thing about that, why I loved that experience, was because when we first came out, I loved MIA.
Mhm.
And you know that song there, push up the people, pull up the poor.
Yes.
Push up
Yeah,
the
yeah,
people.
yeah.
So I loved that track. And I wanted to work with them. And so, MySpace days, what we did is we had this track called Push Up Your Lights Up. And in there's a lyric that goes, hey, MIA, when you're coming back to my country, come pull up the poor.
Yeah.
This generation always wants more. And
That's lit.
but what we did was crazy. Went onto MySpace and I went onto MIA's page and followed followed all of her fans.
Yeah.
And then we started sending them that song free,
Okay.
bigging her up.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
So eventually people are talking about Let's Go to War in her community. And she was like, who the hell are these guys? Then she went to our page, checked us out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Next thing you know, on MySpace, we got invited to go on tour with her.
Wow.
That is super
That's
cool.
incredible.
That's crazy.
That's
The
incredible.
hustle, bro. The hustle.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
A lot of the times, especially with like now, people want it like right away because they look at like people in positions they want to be in,
Mhm.
but fail to realize like how much steps like they've taken to get to where they are now.
Oh man, it's crazy. You know, the process, it's for some people it happens overnight, but it's funny that they say, what's that saying, a star is born overnight for the last 10 years? Something like that.
Mhm.
It's like, it may seem like it's overnight, but this has
Oh,
been 10
okay.
years in the
yeah,
making.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Overnight success took the last 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's
That's the
what
one,
it is.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Today, it's, I mean, man, you have access to everything today.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't even blame people for wanting success like this because you don't even have to push buttons anymore. You can say, hey Siri, what's this?
Yeah.
And somebody tells you what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
100%.
Definitely come very far.
Well, you had a lot of ups in your careers, but obviously success comes with failure, right? So, like, what advice can you give people to not give up in the face of like their worst failure when everything seems like
Yeah.
lost? You know what I mean?
I mean, man, the failures for me is again, like, you know, where I came from and my background, you know. For me, there's been so many successes. That's what it feels like, even if I didn't make it in any of them.
Mhm.
Just from what we came from and like
Mhm.
where things are now and whatnot. And you know, success hits, man, but failure hits harder.
Yeah.
And I think the hard thing about failure is as you climb and success gets bigger and bigger, failure gets harder.
Yeah.
But the beauty about it is that everything I've failed at has always opened up to something bigger and better.
Okay.
You know, and it's just hard at the time when you're in the moment. That failure feels like the end of the world.
Mhm.
But a couple months down the line, when it develops into what it was supposed to,
Mm.
you just become grateful for that failure.
Yeah.
So my advice is trust the failure. You know, let it inspire you. Let it take you to where it's supposed to take you.
Yeah.
You know.
Good
So
advice.
you believe in everything happens for a reason?
Yeah, I mean, I hate that saying.
Yeah.
I hate it, but yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to do some stupid shit, you're gonna fail. You can't say it's supposed to happen that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do stupid shit.
Mm.
But you doing that stupid shit puts you in an opportunity that you learn a little more about yourself. Where 3 years down the line, and a situation like that would happen again, and you react completely different,
Yeah.
then that stupid shit was supposed to bring you there to get where you gotta go.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hear that.
I see what
That's
you're
how I
saying.
look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to make the excuse of, oh, it was supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
You didn't want to get up and go. No, it wasn't supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Very true.
Did you want to get into some news?
Yeah. This has been a pretty quiet week,
It has been.
but so there is some good music coming out. A lot of Drake and his artists are
Mhm.
dropping music. You know about Roy Woods.
yes.
How do you feel about his music?
I mean, I think it's dope that he's like capturing the Caribbean culture,
Yeah.
and you know he fuses that with hip hop, and he's still representing Toronto. and yeah, I don't feel like it's contrived. I feel like he's doing his thing. He's making the music that he wants to, and there's an audience, huge Caribbean audience in Canada.
Yeah.
Now America, like getting onto that.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, he's dope. Do I blast it? No.
Yeah.
But if it comes on, I'm like, oh, dope. Okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
He has a few good songs that I actually like. He's coming out with an album called Say Less soon.
What's it called?
Say Less.
Say Less.
That is a perfect album name.
It's like slang. It's like,
Say less.
yo, do you want to go eat? Oh, say
Say
less.
less.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
say less.
Yeah, so it's
That's
cool.
perfect.
Who
I
else
love
is
how
coming out?
authentic Toronto artists are to the city. You know what I mean?
It's funny. I was having a chat with a producer friend of mine, and it's crazy because back in the day, you go to the States, and we were viewed as like joke thing.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you guys are rappers. You know,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because you had to fight so hard to find your spot to get listened to, and you would never get that respect. And it's just like, man, it's so beautiful to me. Like, big up Drake and OVO and all of these guys, but for them to go over, what happened?
Because he's like giving Drake is the reason why Toronto's there, but I'm saying we also need to give Cardinal official credit too.
The thing is you know, it's like a snowball effect, right? With Cardi and all of those guys, Chocolare, even like Tara Chase, that's my cousin. Like, back then, the stuff that they were doing, they started the stuff that inspired Drake.
Yeah.
That's all I'm just
it's a
saying, give him
snowball
credit.
effect, you know? They built, they inspired me. I built, Drake built, all of these people are building, and new artists are coming out more and more and more, and it's just going to get bigger and better.
Yeah.
But the person who was the tipping point was Drake. Because Drake now can go to the States with OVO, play massive shows, and he's the headline.
Yeah.
Looking at a lot of these other artists the way they used to look at us.
Yeah.
And they have to respect it, because the game is real. Like, he pulled it off.
Yeah.
You know, and the stuff that he's saying and the vibe and the brand, it worked. So, you know, I respect that, man.
Yeah. So speaking about Drake, a OVO store is opening up in Yorkdale. You guys see the video for that?
Yes, yes.
That honestly looks so cool. Just him and all of his boys with like
He
a
got
Cadillac.
a car in Yorkdale.
Yeah,
Like, that is lit.
Bumping Galchester too, which was crazy.
Right?
That was dope.
That goes back to like the persona thing, right? Before we started recording, there was a guy over here saying that he was acting tough. I don't think it was really him acting tough, as just that's how, like, that's the vibe that he gives off. You know what I mean? He always rolls with like a big crew of people, and he's always flashy, always like one-upping himself, right? So I feel like that wasn't, in my eyes, that wasn't him trying to act tough.
Right. You know, when he was building on his own, success came. But I think we live in a society where, not intimidation, but I'm almost gonna say balls.
Yeah.
Like having an edge to you.
Like, look at Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Right? When Wu-Tang came out, individually, Ray was dope, Old Dirty was dope, Ghost was dope, Meth was dope. When you saw them on stage together,
Damn.
and it
Wild.
was just a swarm of
Yeah.
killer bees, you're like, yo! You don't want to go to high school tomorrow by yourself.
Yeah.
You want to get off the bus with a crew of friends.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's where it comes down to, is like, it's not necessarily wanting to be tough, that persona, but it's like, you want to move in a crew, man, in a herd.
Exactly.
You know, and OVO's doing that. They're doing it hard.
Yeah. Are you gonna hit it up?
I mean, we went to the store. We just looked inside, so I didn't really get to see a lot of their clothes. But like, from what I've seen, I'm not really a fan. I'm gonna go check it out for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna restock on a lot of things,
Yeah.
right? But then it's just gonna be like the Queen and Bathurst location where everything is sold out, and like it's gonna be an empty store.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really. I've never bought anything OVO before.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna start.
I'm gonna go and cop some stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's gonna be like hype for a little bit, and then it's just gonna die down like the Queen of Bathurst.
See,
Yeah.
I give them their props, because, you know, you look at like Jay-Z with Rockaware, you know, Kanye with Yeezus.
Yeezus. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, hip hop inspires so much fashion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're tapping into that market, and to be in Yorkdale, like an established mall like that, where, you know, they don't want
A bunch of black people.
they don't want certain vibes in there. And then to see those guys walking through, a herd of them walking through with, you know, a Cadillac, spitting a verse on top of the Cadillac.
Yeah.
It was big stuff.
Yeah. Super dope. So let's get into our main topic of discussion.
Okay.
Now, I'm really excited about this.
Yes.
Let's just say it. We're gonna compare the 90s to today's society, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm excited about this because growing up, I had an older brother, right? And he's like 32 now. Okay. So when I was small, I was just absorbing everything that he was taking in from the media, right? Mm-hmm. So I could relate to the like growing up in the 90s and growing up now, right? Mm-hmm. I have a huge love for everything that's in the 90s. It's like much music and like MSN days and all that kind of stuff.
That's
like
an MSN.
like that's nostalgic, right? So I guess we could start just with music.
Okay.
Right? How do you feel like it's changed? I feel like back then they were making timeless music, and now they're making music for right now.
Well, I think, you know, first of all, I grew up in a time where I couldn't wait to get the record. I would look at the artwork. Yeah. I would read the inseam. You know, hopefully the lyrics were there. You know, there was a time where you had to go out and buy the record. You couldn't, or if a single came out, cool. Yeah. You get the single, $3.99 or whatever it is, but you'd have to buy the record. And now we live in a time where there's no more records, man. You want a song, you go get the song. Yeah. You know, or little things like in your cassette. Unless you had a mixtape that you made, you're listening to that whole record. So like I had like Tupac, Strictly for My Niggas. Actually, it's in my Walkman.
You still have your Walkman?
I have my Walkman on my desk upstairs. Yeah. Strictly for My Niggas is in it. Yeah. And like that, like listening to that, I Get Around used to be like one of my favorite songs. I wrote all the lyrics down to that song. And at the end of it, you have to stop and I rewind it just to hear it again. Yeah. Where I think like music today, the attention span of music is like, the track comes out, oh dope, in the club, everybody loves it. Yo, what's that song again? Gone. Yeah. Whereas like back then, 90s, I feel like you waited for a record to come out for a year, and then you got it, and you listened to the whole thing, and it had like, that shit was out for the whole summer. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Whereas now, Song of the Summer, I think there's been, 8 already?
There's been a few.
You know what I'm saying?
A few.
So that anticipation makes it, would that anticipation make it, timeless?
No, just because, I mean, there was mad flops. Yeah. You know, you anticipate a record and you finally get it and then you're like, oh man, this sucks. I spent $14.99 on this. Yeah. You know, or there would be 1 or 2 good songs on it. I don't think that makes it timeless. I think a timeless track is, you know, you could put it like right now if Mercy Mercy Me came on, Marvin Gaye, it's a timeless track. Yeah. Right? It has not a general statement, but it's talking about the times. It's describing what's going on, and it's relatable, and it's done with such great instrumentation. The lyrics are great. The delivery was great. Yeah. It's all of these little components that come together to form a classic song to me. Like Hey Ya. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Andre 3000.
Yeah.
At the time, who was doing that?
Nobody. Yeah.
And the video was him playing all the instruments. And it was just beautiful. But what most people don't know is Prince plays all the instruments on his records. Lenny Kravitz plays all the instruments on his records. But everybody went off when they saw Andre do it. Yeah. Because here's this guy from Outkast down south, dressed in this tight, flashy clothing, no shirt, with a star on his chest, singing Hey Ya. Yeah. You know, to me, that's what made that timeless. Hey Ya's gonna be around forever. Yeah. So to me, that's more what makes a timeless track versus, I don't even know what you asked. If the anticipation made it timeless. Yeah. I don't think so.
And even looking back, I was just listening to music from the 2000s, getting ready for this, and I heard a lot of Timberland. Do you think Timberland was the sound of the 2000s, late 90s?
I don't know, you know, I would say Premier was big. Yeah. Premier was, and I was more of a Timberland's Virginia, I believe, right? I was more of that New York, Mobb Deep.
Boom bap sound.
Right, yeah. Right. But, you know, for me, I love Missy Elliott.
Yeah.
When Timberland hooked up with Nelly Furtado, her sound just went.
That was wild.
Yeah,
And then Justin Timberlake came in the scene.
Timberlake, and I think the sonics that Timberland would work with, and then when he started producing Jay-Z as well, the sounds that he was doing. What was the name of that group that he had?
He had a group?
Yeah.
Jay-Z?
No,
No,
Timberland. Timberland and Magoo.
I didn't even know about this.
Way over.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can look that shit up. Timberland and Magoo, I think it was called.
Oh
Like
wow.
those type of sounds.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I love,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love ya.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this
It
is
was
the
like
shit
it was a sound, you know
that-
what I
it
mean?
was sound.
Yeah,
Timberland
that's-
has sound.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why I asked, because like it was everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
like I feel like he was a prominent guy, like in pop culture. Just Timberland was just everywhere.
Well, I think, even, I look at like Aaliyah, right? I used to love Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's just me or if I'm crazy, but I hear a lot of Aaliyah and Drake.
I never thought
Really?
about that.
Yeah,
I never
I
thought
never-
about that.
Listen to Aaliyah
Yeah.
and her delivery, the space and the beats,
Mm-hmm.
the space in her delivery, how she's singing so like genuine, and where she's going with the songs. And then if you look at a lot of the Drake songs, what's that song there? Brand New. Do you guys know that one?
What album is that off of?
I don't know, one of the first mixtapes. He's
Oh,
talking
okay.
Brand New.
Like Comeback
Oh
Season?
yeah, no, that was,
Yeah.
If you look at the two deliveries,
Mhm.
I feel like he got a lot of inspiration from Aaliyah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And I feel like Timberland pulled a lot of inspiration from Aaliyah as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the Missy Elliott. And so, I don't know, man. Was he the producer for 2000? He was one of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't think he defined that sound.
Yeah, and also another thing having to do with music in the 90s that I feel that we lose now is that Much Music used to be that spot where like all the artists came before their concerts. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Like
Rap City?
Yeah.
I used to
Yeah.
take Rap City.
Yeah.
Rap City,
Wait
like
till
the
Rap City
down
came
low,
on.
like
The
Right?
Basement.
yeah, like everything, right? And I feel like we lost that. I feel like we could still do that, right? Artists coming before their concerts to Much
Yeah.
Music, everybody coming out to see them, people who couldn't get concert tickets, right? I don't know why they don't do that anymore.
Well, I'm a huge Prince fan. And one of the things that I loved about Prince was that Prince will go play a stadium in every city. And after that, after the stadium, he'll go show up at a small dive bar with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like, imagine one night you're sitting in a bar, some Irish pub,
Mhm.
and Prince walks in and does a set with his acoustic guitar.
Yeah. That's wild.
Right?
Yeah.
So that, the artistry I respect so much. But as far as like, Rap City goes, I remember when BET first came to Canada. Oh man,
Yeah.
so stoked.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
stoked. But yeah, I don't know if that exists anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Now,
Like
now it's all about how big are you and how much do you ball.
The shit you have, your cars, your clothes.
Right. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like that really exists anymore.
I think because of social media, we get to see like everything about an artist now. So like what's important now is like what kind of car
Right.
this guy has, what kind of thing
Right.
this guy has. So people would rather tune into like Instagram to see like
That's right.
behind the scenes rather than go see them play,
Sure.
because exactly people don't watch much music anymore, or like
They don't need to.
they don't
Yeah,
go
they
to
don't
TV
need to,
for like
yeah.
music anymore,
That's right.
right? They go
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that's coming back. It would be dope for it to come back, because I remember like when BET would like exclusive premiere and have like a new
Right.
song by 50 Cent. I remember like sitting down with my friend, just like watching new videos come out
Right.
all day.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, who did that with Tidal?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the formula is still the same. The platforms have just changed.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
But it
Very
was.
true.
I feel like it was a different feeling because the artist actually came to the place. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
And like it was the opportunity for everybody to see it, right? So it was that special moment that I kind of miss.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, now you can just go on Instagram. Right?
exactly.
Yeah. So next we have fashion. Fashion in the 90s versus fashion today.
Yeah.
Um,
I know you have a very strong opinion on like what's going on now. You were talking about how like we pull all of our fashion from the 90s.
I didn't say pull all of the fashion.
Okay,
As
a good
this,
chunk.
this is where here's where I was going with this. So when I was coming up, you know, for you to get a pair of J's, they weren't OG J's. They were just J's.
Yeah.
And you played ball in them.
Yeah.
You rocked them and you played ball in them. Whereas now, if you look at all the J's that are popular, it's like 1 to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
13
That's about
maybe.
it. Yeah.
Maybe 13.
Yeah.
You know, or like army pants and hoodies and your Timbs. There wasn't anybody that we looked at, like a generation before us, that were rocking army boots.
Yeah.
It was military.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now when these buckwheat Timbs come out, we rock them. But if you look at today's fashion, Timbs are classic. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
J's 1 to 13, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Chuck Taylors, Stan Smiths, Vans.
Yeah.
Those aren't going anywhere. And what I was trying to say is, we were the innovators of that.
Okay.
And so today, it's so rare to find something new that has power like that. I'm gonna go with the Yeezys. Yeah, those I think are gonna be that generation.
Yeah.
They're gonna pass on.
Yeah.
In 20 years, somebody's gonna pull out Yeezys and be like, yo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or is that gonna happen with LeBrons?
Definitely.
No, I don't think there's any other shoe that's gonna reach that caliber.
That's right. And so where I was going with that is like, you know, the style of, for example, what's another example? You know, in the 90s we used to rock like baseball jerseys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I want that to come back hard?
It's
It was
kind
a
of
vibe.
there. It had like a moment for a bit.
Right. But where I'm going is, I think in the 90s there was styles that we developed that are classic.
Yeah.
Army pants, black hoodie, Timbs.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, blue jeans, your blue ripped jeans with your J's and a white tee.
Yeah.
You know, it's there was a lot of horrible styles. Some shit people were wearing, I was like, oh man.
Were you into like FUBU or G Unit's clothing line?
No. I mean, I like the idea of FUBU because nothing like that existed before.
Yeah.
I didn't rock it. I got called out. I used to get called white boy and shit like that because I used to love like my Levi's with like my, you know, my Nirvana t-shirt, Chuck Taylors, Jordans. You know, there was a point where cross colors in the 80s, I rocked cross colors.
Yeah. I feel like the 80s style, like there's a niche group of people who are messing with that heavy. Like they're wearing the bright bomber jackets.
See, I did it. But now when I look back at the pictures, I'm like, man, you know, like, I don't know if you guys know this, I had like a click suit. That's like old West Indian click suit with travel fox.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, bro.
That's mad old school.
That's mad. We went hard, you know. I like fashion today, but I just feel like so much stuff has been done that I feel like a lot of the fashion that I see today is very similar to each other. You know, Kanye came out with, you know, that pastel color palette, the creams, the salmon, the tan. Now I feel like everywhere I go, that's all I see.
With the rips too. Everybody's doing the rips.
Right, so I feel like, you know, to be innovative and come up with something new, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
And will it work?
I remember back then where my brother would have to cross the border to like get some fresh new gear, come back, and everybody would be like, that's the illest thing, right? But now we have online shopping, right? So everybody has access to everything, right?
Josh and the cat.
Cat!
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
Hey!
Okay, so I'll touch that topic because, okay, when I was growing up, what I loved was every summer, my grandparents would take me to New York because we had a lot of our family in New York. So one of the things that I took like so much pride in was going to New York and like going down to like Flatbush, Fulton Ave, Jamaica Ave, the Coliseum, and I would see what people are rocking. And so I remember one story in particular when Patrick Ewing's came out. I didn't even know Patrick Ewing had a shoe. And now I go down to the Coliseum and Patrick Ewing's are out with a basketball on the side, the Velcro in the front and the back. So I copped the white, blue, and orange ones. Let me tell you, when I came back to Montreal, I came back home, I was rocking Ewings. Everyone's like, yo, and then everybody's mission was to try to get the Ewings. But by the time you guys got them, I was onto the Bo Jackson medicine balls. And so on and so forth. The Hirachis. Every summer it was like I would come back with something new. And I feel like as an innovator, at those times, all I was really doing was copying other shit. But you'd have to go look for it and find it and then buy it and bring it back home, and you'd be one of like X amount of people in your hood rocking it. Whereas today, you can go on Instagram, see a pair of kicks, be like, yo, those are dope. Google, whether they're fake or they're real, they could be on your door in 6 days, 5 days.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as far as like the hunt, fashion used to be about the hunt.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's gone.
Yeah. And you had to really be about that life because that hunt is...
The hunt is real.
Yeah, it's real. You know what I mean?
Real.
The hunt is real. That's the name of the episode right there.
The hunt is real.
The hunt is real.
It's crazy.
But it used to be like that for everything. Like even I think like music. You know, I would go to record stores, flip through records. Like I have 36 Chambers on record, vinyl.
Wow, that's fucking dope.
Dude, I have LL Cool J, I'm Bad on vinyl.
Yeah.
Like looking through, and then you find that shit, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you know what I mean? Whereas like now you could just download it to your phone.
Yeah.
So I feel like the appreciation of the craftsmanship and the art is gone to some degree because you don't have to.
Right.
It's not a bad thing. It's not your fault. Your generation, not your fault.
Yeah.
You've been given it easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I definitely feel like people don't appreciate hard copy as much anymore. Because like touching on the point you were talking about before, you would go to HMV, get the physical disc, look through all of the stuff, read everything, and like now you could just go on social media and like just toss it.
Right.
You don't have to look at it anymore. Even with like games and stuff, I remember when I used to buy like games and like GTA would have the map, or like different games would have like a picture of like a character you'd hang up in your wall and stuff. All that's lost now. Everything's just online, and it's not the same experience anymore.
Even like I remember when Only Built for Cuban Links came out, and Nas's verse, that verse like just blew me away. And I remember when The Source came out, the hip hop quotables.
Yeah.
And I cut that out. I put it on over my bed.
Wow.
And like I taped that to the wall. And like, I knew every through the lights, cameras, and action, glamour, glitters, and gold. I unfold the scroll, plant steeds to stampede the gold. Like you know, to me that was like you just appreciated it so much more. Whereas I feel like today it's just not the appreciation's just not there as much.
Yeah, it's kind of coming back now. Like vinyls are kind of making a comeback.
Yeah,
people are trying to bring.
But also that's like a niche market as well.
Yeah.
Right?
See, so my question to you now is it really coming back, or if people just ran out of original ideas, and so now it's starting to recycle things to be
cool?
Yeah,
I definitely think so. Cause like I was at LCBO the other day, and if you donate $2, you get to pick out like a vinyl, and like flipping through it was like the illest thing. I'm seeing a whole bunch of artists I never heard of and stuff. So I will say people are recycling, but I don't care because it's cool.
Yeah, it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
I think it's nostalgic, right? It's like having a physical copy of something is much different than, you know, downloading a file to your computer to your phone. You know, it's tangible. You get to touch, and
it's more real.
It's real.
So now another big thing that comes to play in people's lives are social media, right? How do you use social media? Do you use it more personally, and like would you post your family and stuff on that, or is it strictly professional?
Sorry, one sec. Social media. Well, I mean, social media developed a bit of a career for me to some degree, because when I started working with marketing with an agency, I was thrown into the fire for social media because nobody really knew what was going on.
Right.
So I had an opportunity to learn right from the beginning, you know, Facebook, Twitter, I was gonna say Instagram and LinkedIn, but they weren't there yet.
Yeah.
But like working with these brands where we had to create content, we had to create a storyline, we had to create what are we talking about, and then get the visuals to build the audience and the do's and don'ts. So at the time, there was major brands that I was working with doing this, figuring it out.
Yeah. And
you know, luckily having my television and video background, I would shoot content, photography, and then from a musical standpoint, the story writing.
Right.
I would put myself into the character, say a mom for a pizza company, and be able to write content for them.
Wow.
Right? And so, you know, social media for me at the time was a tool.
Right.
It wasn't like, look at my life.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think I developed certain boundaries on where I would go with social media naturally. And I'm a bit of a private person too. You know, there's certain things that I'll allow out and then there's certain things that I think should be saved for like my family and friends.
Right.
If everybody knows everything about me, then what the hell is there to know?
Yeah.
Right. And then the problem with social media is it grew out of control to the point where people are in parking lots taking pictures up against somebody else's car, acting like that's everything.
Yeah.
And then the problem isn't them doing that. The problem is people believing it.
Yeah.
And so now you have like this fake culture that doesn't exist with another side of society that believes it.
Mm-hmm.
And it dilutes and screws people's minds up.
Yeah.
Because you want things that are unattainable.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Right? So I think, with social media where things have gone, I think it's a great tool if you're an artist, if you have a craft or whatever you want to do and you want to share. It's great. I think some people go a little far.
Yeah.
With sharing like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always weird to see like when I see some of my friends post on their story like, oh, I just cut this person off and now we're not friends anymore. Like why are you telling everybody that you're not friends with this person?
Right.
Or even like you would see a million stories on their Snapchatting everything they do in their day. It's like, are you living for the experience or are you living to show other people that you experience it? And like while you have your camera out, you're not even experiencing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like while you're at the show, you're more busy filming the show.
Yeah.
To share with people than you are to take it in.
Yeah. It's funny because like people will incriminate themselves nowadays just to look cool.
Yeah.
Putting drugs, money that like
guns.
they shouldn't have, guns.
The Draco.
Yeah, pointing the gun at the camera and stuff just to look cool when like your parole officer is watching, the judge is watching.
I feel like, my grandparents would always say, that boy have no sense. And I just feel like it's crazy, but I feel like when I look at social media, like I just don't have sense, man.
Yeah.
None.
And it sucks because social media should be a tool. It should be a tool to share and to bring communities together. And
Yeah.
there's so many benefits that are there, but it's just crazy where it went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now speaking on that, do you feel like social media has made like actual interactions worse? Or even like talking to girls, because you can just go on Tinder or whatever and swipe. You don't have to face rejection or anything, right?
Yeah. Well, no, you see, this is where I disagree with you because, before all of this Tinder stuff, if you wanted to talk to a girl and you went out one-on-one and asked her out on a date or something like that, she turned you down, suck.
Yeah.
Well, you don't got to tell nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas now, you embarrass yourself and some girl can go on Facebook and blast you.
Yeah. Put the screenshot of the conversation up.
Yeah.
Blast you.
Yeah.
So, no, it's worse, man.
Yeah.
I think it's a battlefield out there.
I hear that.
Crazy.
I hear that.
Yeah.
One of the things for me is like high school ballers.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff I get to see now on Instagram from like kids playing basketball in high school, the shit that they're doing, I'm like, yo, it's dope.
Yeah.
That's what I love. I've never seen that anywhere. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Instagram and social media and Facebook, they give you access to a lot of stuff that normally I wouldn't get.
Yeah.
And like that's where I appreciate it. I just think some of the conversation topics and the hype is just nonsense, man.
So, speaking of creating things and impacting culture, what are you doing at 3C that you think like impacts culture right now?
I think where we are right now with 3C is we're in a beautiful place because we're working with clients that aren't necessarily the big power brands. It's a bunch of smaller, medium-sized clients who want to make an impact and want to do something different, and they love what they do.
Right.
And so we're in a position where we can create content, creative campaigns that are really, really great stories, really great storylines. They're heartfelt, and it's just beautiful the power of what you can create today with different budgets, right?
Yeah.
I guess where I'm trying to go with this is that a lot of the bigger agencies that people would go to, you get put into a cookie cutter situation where you're not really cared about oftentimes. And so where we are, we're working with clients that, we really get involved in their business, we get involved in their creative, and we're part of everything that they're doing.
Right.
And so for me, it's great because essentially I feel like I'm helping out, right? But I'm also put in a position where they have trust in us, where we can create what we feel is right.
Right.
And having trust with a client to be able to go create still allows me to be an artist.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that I love the most. goals.
That's dope. Yeah, that's definitely my kind of mentality too. Like, I don't think I would want to work in like a bigger company because they don't value your opinions as much.
That's
you
right.
don't have as much impact.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's really cool, like, interacting with clients and like seeing what you accomplish for yourself.
Yeah.
Like with the stuff that you guys did with LBS, seeing what we did, and then seeing the impact, seeing all those
That's
people
right.
there. It's like, and like seeing what I did, like I did that.
That's
It
right. That's
means a lot more, and
It's ownership.
Exactly.
It's taking pride in your successes and understanding your failures.
Yeah.
Because it's right there.
yeah,
Versus something that's like so far away from you. You had to go to the VP, had to go here, had to go. You're so far removed from the project that do you really care about it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do the people up top really care about your creative, or do they care more about making money?
That's right. And so, you know, where things are going now, we have an opportunity, just like music and just like the film industry, as agencies, we have an opportunity to create quick, smart, honest, with the budgets that aren't crazy.
Yeah,
We can create stuff that we want to now, you know, whereas not too long ago, that was really difficult to do.
yeah,
And you know what? When you're in a smaller agency, sometimes you get to know people a little more in the agency. You get closer with them, and you get to understand the brilliance of some of you young kids, like what you guys are doing. You kids, you younger generation, the stuff that you guys are doing. Like I think it's brilliant what you guys will do. And you know, being in our agency, we're beside you guys.
yeah,
And we support you and we see what you're doing and we want to be a part of it. Being in the big pond, you often don't get that opportunity.
yeah,
So not only for me personally do I get to be creative, but I also get to have my foot in today's culture as well, right? And even like for my son, like to be able to bring my son to the office and everybody on the team knows him and
yeah.
can hang and essentially grow together. It's a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
I think that's, you know, that's what it's all about.
For sure. Well, that's the episode. PJ, thank you very much for coming through. It means a lot.
Thank you so much for having me.
Nice to meet
Hopefully
you.
I didn't chat too much.
No, definitely not.
Trying to bring some experience to the table
Yeah.
and share. And
Yeah.
thanks for having me again. I'm really proud of what you guys are doing, and thanks for having me.
So how about you let the people know where they could reach you, like your social media handles? Or...
Okay. It's Peter John. You can hit me up at ByPeterJohn, ByPeterJohn, and that's across all platforms. And yeah, look out for you.
All right, cool. Thanks for watching episode 4 of MLT Podcast. Peace.